Hi everybody, my name is Caden.
My name is Jaden.
I'm Nicole.
I'm Eli.
And I'm Jason.
And we are the Who in the Torah YouTube channel. And we are in the Enoch series, which means we are not, this is not the regular your daily program. This is something a little extracurricular, a little special for you guys. It is the book of Enoch. We are going through all of the things that happened in Enoch, all of his life, all of his visions he's seen, how the messengers were destroyed. Last time we talked about how the messengers, the watchers as they were called, as they were supposed to watch the humans, descended on a mountain, and they fell in love with the human women, so they mated with the women, they got cursed, they bred giants. And they basically were just seeded for destruction. They said, Yahuwah said to them, you're never going to come back to the kingdom. You're going to live on earth. And when you die, you're going to become an evil spirit. When your sons die, they're going to become evil spirits. You're locked away forever. So he went up and he saw some visions. He saw some magnificent things. Some things he said he couldn't even explain. So that's where we're at today. We're just kind of going over more of his visions and more of what he's seen.
Yeah, and if that was really fast, I would say back that up about 45 seconds. Hit
a 0.75 or 0.5
yeah,
speed.
0.5 or 0.75. And you might actually hear him. Thank you very much, Cade, for getting us that breakdown of this. And I guess let's begin.
That's a pretty good introduction.
Before that, though, we're going to go in and we have a couple of things. One is from our dear sis, Carla. And the first thing she says is this. Torah family, do you remember when reading Leviticus about the spies going to scout out the land with Joshua? And two of the spies saw the Rephaim. They went back and discouraged the others in the camp by talking about how fearsome they were. Those fearsome people were a category of offspring of the Nephilim, right? Let's stop right there.
Yes, okay,
Yes,
real quick.
it's
It's actually in Numbers.
Yeah, it's either, I think it's Deuteronomy or Numbers.
It's in Numbers.
Numbers.
It's in
Okay.
Numbers.
Yeah,
It's
Numbers,
in
not Leviticus. And yes, they were the Rephaim. They were the giants. They were scared of how big they were and like, we will die to these people because they're so big.
And that's part of the reason why Yah said, kill them, destroy them, because they were plagued generations from, well, Enoch's time.
Yeah, these weren't just regular people, regular humans. These were giants to other Gentiles. They were giants like Moab and Ammon and all these other places. The Canaanites, they were all filled with Rephaim.
Yeah, and so after the flood, it is more than likely it's Ham. Ham was the one that he was cursed. Not only was he cursed,
It might have been his wife, because I think Noah and his wife were pure, but I think it was his wife.
right? And I believe that they took wives right before they entered into the ark, and so there was some giant DNA inside of this woman, and I believe the giants of that time were far smaller than the ones we talked about earlier.
I think the more generations go on with humans and giants, I think they get smaller. And if it's not a giant, they get bigger.
These guys were probably like the size of Goliath, where Goliath, I think, was like
9 feet.
9 feet.
Yeah,
something
so
like
that's nothing compared to the guys that we were talking about yesterday. One assumption was like possibly 1 mile high. The other one was how far?
I think it was like
500 feet.
Yeah.
500. Speaking to the mic, little guy. All right. And so yeah, we're talking how many feet? 300 feet?
Yeah, it's like one is 3,500 feet, possibly 500 feet, or a mile.
Yeah, it's 500 feet. That is a.
I mean, these dudes must shake the
Quite
ground
the
when they walk.
distance.
Yeah, quite the distance. And so when the after the flood and Ham's all these lines of giants were out there, that is why Yah said you must go in and utterly destroy everything, man, woman, child. It wasn't because he's a bloodthirsty, crazy, leader of ours that he's just out for blood. It is that he was attempting to save us because the DNA line that had already been corrupted came and ate us. Right? They're monsters, and they were eating animals, and they were eating each other, and they were eating the humans, and it was a mess. And so, all right, let's continue on. Those fearsome people were a category of the offspring of the Nephilim. I can't believe that Greek mythology made the offspring of the fallen into heroes. Even today, Babylon makes Marvel movie characters after the fallen ones and their children. Growing up, I used to idolize Wonder Woman as a hero, but the character was fashioned after a fallen one's offspring. And not only that, I don't want to get too down the rabbit hole, but if you look at Wonder Woman, the two W's together, if you put those to the side, there's also a 33. They love their numbers. They love their plays on this kind of stuff. That is their favorite number, right? They will run crazy things all across the world, and they will flash 33s in front of people because that is the amount of angels that supposedly fell with Hasatan.
33%.
Yeah, 33% of them. And so they always do a shout out to that. And
everything you see nowadays, especially in Greek mythology, is all based off the fallen. Every one of them are idolized. That's where you get Nimrod. That's why there's so many things named after Nimrod. He himself was a giant.
Yeah, these things had superpowers, right? So they weren't just like average giants. These things were huge, and they were able to do things that normal human beings could not.
They
And-
probably built the pyramids like little building blocks.
yeah, it's like Legos for giants, and they probably put it together. And we look at this stuff today, and it's like, how in the world did this ever happen?
1,000 times bigger than us. And we're like, wow.
Yeah, they're trying to figure out how things could possibly have levitated, or how that it was possible the slaves were able to build pyramids. When it's very easy to see this from this, that that is who did this. All right, the last part of this. It was part of my public school curriculum to study in-depth Greek mythology. I'm repentant for that evil that I lived. I was in deep darkness most of my life, and I was raised Catholic and a Christian, so many of us were lied to and led astray. Praise Yah for the truth, Torah, and Yeshua. Yeah, and so I guess do you guys remember? Did you guys get into Greek mythology at all?
But I don't think we ever did that kind of stuff. I know we did like history, like American history, but nothing more.
But I
than
ripped
that.
them out of public schools when they were just really young.
I think I was 7.
Yeah, so I sent them to actually it wasn't public school, it was supposed to be a private Christian school, and they came home with more foul stuff than I can even recall, and finally it ended up with a confrontation, me homeschooling the kids until they graduate, all 3 of them, and that was like some of the greatest times of my life, was actually getting to spend that kind of quality time with my kids. And unfortunately I still common core you guys, because that's what we all were taught to do, is that we got to common core you. And that's the way it is. So we never taught that kind of stuff, and we should be repentant, because all the Greek mythology things are the men of old, the renowned men of old. So all right, the other one was each 7 generations from Adam is her question, from Clarissa Cotton. Enoch is 7 generations from Adam.
Mom?
Do we have that?
So.
All right, we think so.
I think it's the back of your book.
It is. Hold on.
Hold on, we're grabbing the Hallelujah Scriptures. In the back of the Hallelujah Scriptures, it actually tells us what this is. And so we have Nicole, who is going to...
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay, so it looks like on the Hallelujah Scriptures in the back of it, it says the timeline to Adam was 8 generations. So who do we have, Eli? Who are the 8? We have Adam to...
We have Adam to Seth to Enoch to Canaan to Mahalalel to Yared to Canuck.
Okay, so that's 8.
Wait a minute, I did to Noah, because I think you said Noah. So 1,
Enoch,
2,
yeah, so-
3, 4, 5. So 6 to Enoch.
Okay, so 6 to Enoch. 6 to Enoch. All right. So that is the answer to that. Much love, dear sis. We appreciate it. And then she goes, in Hebrew, does El mean of God? I feel like we should know this. What?
I think when you have El Elyon, or is it like a name at the end, like Yasharel?
Yeah, I don't know. We're looking this up in the Hallelujah.
Okay, so El, Eloah, and Elohim all mean like Almighty.
Almighty or God.
All right, speaking to the mic, what does it mean?
So El, Eloah, or Elohim all mean like Almighty or God.
So El, Elyon.
El, Eloah, or Elohim.
Eloah. Okay, how do you spell the Eloah?
Eloh.
Yeah, okay, I got it. So yeah, that answers that. So again, much love, dear sis. We appreciate it. One other one that we had was from ABC-Def. I've never heard from this individual before, but
It's DEF, ABCDEF.
oh yeah, I'm like retarded. I might be retarded. I'm like ABC Def. I'm like yeah, wow.
It's the alphabet book.
Common Core. Yeah, I came out of Babylon. What can I say? Give it the best I got. Sorry, that was my roof making crazy sounds. Okay, so according to the book of Enoch that I have, the 7th mountain was Mount Hermon, which is the mountain where the pact was made, alleged to be in Antarctica. Okay, so that was very interesting right there. So we really appreciate you guys that have different versions of this that can give us any more input into the stuff that we have. And let's get into it. Is everyone excited?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Drum roll. All right. Yep. All right. Thank you guys. Thank you. As the Grand would say, that is the best drum roll on YouTube anywhere.
No, it's not.
And you
And
can just click read and it'll bring you to it.
well, it's depending on where I was at, son. All right, Enoch 27, and you got it. You got it, Cookie. Good job. All right, Enoch 27. From there I proceeded towards the east to the middle of the mountain in the desert, the level surface only of which I perceived. Okay, so what is he saying right here?
So
He's
basically-
only able to see the middle of it. What does yours say? Anyone who has a better version?
Yeah, mine's in the midst of the mountain range.
Midst of the mountain range. Okay. Nicole, you have anything?
Same thing.
Okay.
Into the midst of the mountain range of the desert.
All right, and if you're just joining us, we actually have 5 different versions. We're reading out of the Sefer. Cade's is some online version. That's my dogs going off. Jade, you have what?
The Lost Books of the Bible, the Great Rejected Text.
By who?
Joseph B. Lumpkin.
Joseph B. Lumpkin. We love this book. This book is super awesome. Nicole, you have?
Hallelujah Scriptures.
All right, and Eli.
Book of Enoch references.wordpress.
Some dude's WordPress site. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so verse 2. It was full of trees of the seed alluded to, and water leaped down upon it. There appeared a cataract composed as of many cataracts, both towards the west and towards the east. Upon one side were trees, upon the other water and dew. Okay, what did you guys say, cataract?
No.
And water gushed forth from above, rushing like a plentiful watercourse. Towards the northwest, it caused clouds and dew to ascend on every side.
Okay. All right, so you guys kind of getting a picture of what we're looking at here?
I think so. I think it's
Okay.
like a waterfall.
It's the middle of a mountain in the desert, is what it says. And it has trees of the seed alluded to. What seed
Water.
do we allude to?
Mine says trees and plants.
Trees and plants? Okay.
And water gushed out from above, so maybe he's looking like up at a waterfall.
I don't know. All right, our dog's going crazy over there. We're super sorry. All right, then I went to another place. This is chapter 28 in ours, but a lot of people have it in different stuff. So then I went to another place from the desert, towards the east of that mountain, which I had approached. There I beheld trees of judgment, particularly the sweet-smelling opiate, frankincense, and myrrh, and trees unlike to each other. And over it above them was the elevation of the eastern mountain at no great distance. Okay, so what does yours say, at no great distance? It was close by? Is that what it
I
says?
don't see that in mine.
And I saw
Yours
another
have
place,
three
a
verses?
valley of water, is all mine says.
Okay, so what about, I beheld trees of judgment?
Yeah, and there I saw trees of judgment, especially vessels of fragrance of incense and myrrh, and the trees were not alike.
You don't have an opiate, smelling opiate?
No.
An opiate is what? I don't even know what that is.
I don't
Sweet-smelling opiate.
I don't have an opiate either.
maybe a fragrance?
Mine says I saw aromatic.
Mine says sweet
trees.
smelling drugs.
Mine says
Aromatic?
exuding the fragrance of frankincense and myrrh.
Mine says sweet
And the
smelling
trees
drugs.
also were similar to almond trees.
So Kate says sweet-smelling drugs. This is, it does say opiate right there. That's what I was beginning to
opioids.
say.
I was like, what's this?
Yeah, that is very odd. I don't even know what opiates smell like, but I don't think we can be honest on that. Your guys don't say that,
There's
right?
a frankincense, myrrh, and it also later is an almond tree.
And an almond tree? Hold on.
Similar
tree.
to an almond tree.
Similar to an almond tree. Mine doesn't say anything about an
Mine,
almond
sa-
tree.
mine says in the trees were not alike.
No, it's the one
Wow.
above. It's the first above.
These are very confusing with so many different versions.
I went to another place away from the wilderness, came near to the east of this mountain.
And then
No, that's
Yeah,
it. Right
next.
I only have 2 verses.
So everybody
Take
has
the next
different. No, yeah, go into the next chapter, Eli. Okay, let's go into 29.
That's where we're at. We just ended
Okay,
29. I'm now
I am
30.
going into my 29. You guys go into whatever syncs up with you. All right. I likewise saw another place with valleys of water which never wasted, where I perceived a goodly tree which in smell resembled the mastic tree. Did you guys say mastic
mine
tree?
says
Yeah.
Zasakinon.
What?
Yeah, good luck with that
What are you
word.
saying? What are you
Where's
saying,
that?
friend?
We're on
It does
3
say
of 30.
Zasakinison. So that's a Z-A-S-A.
I'm not sure on 2
Zasakinon.
the mastic.
Guys, can we keep it to one conversation, please, at a time? So I know everyone's real excited here. We got the dog going excited in the background. So again, that's Z-A-S-A-K-I-N-O-N. All right,
Zasakinon.
that's whatever that is.
Are we on 2 or
We're on
3?
verse
I don't. Mine
I
isn't going
know.
to correspond with
And
yours.
therein there was a tree, the color of fragrant trees, such as a gum tree.
Yours says a gum tree.
Mine says mastic.
Yeah, mine,
Okay, so I don't even know what a gum tree is.
What's a
Anyone?
mastic tree?
Yeah, they actually have gum.
Yeah, that would be some like chewing gum. All right, no, I don't know. So okay.
To verse 3.
3. And towards the sides of these valleys I perceived cinnamon of a sweet odor. Over them I advanced toward the east. Does everybody have cinnamon?
Yep.
Yes.
Hey, we got one thing
At
right.
least cinnamon's the same.
Yeah, wow, that's crazy. We have 5 different versions and 5 different versions. Okay. Then I beheld another mountain containing trees. I'm in 30 for anyone that's following along. Containing trees, from which water flowed like Nikitro. Its name was Saria, Ura, and Calboniaba.
Galbanum?
Alright. So mine says, and I saw another mountain on which there were trees, and there flowed out water, and there filled it as it were a nectar, whose name is Stytrax and Galbanum.
Galbanum. Okay, none of this is cute.
And mine says a sweet liquid. flowed from them, which was named Sarara and Galvanan.
So why are these so hard that the translation is so wacky?
I don't know.
Okay, and upon this mountain I beheld another mountain, upon which were trees of alva.
Mine says aloe.
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 Mine's still Al.
Aloe.
Alva.
Yours says alva. So that must be aloe. Which would be a sticky syrup or something, right? Coming down off that. Okay. These trees were full, like almond trees, and strong. And when they produced fruit, it was superior to all redolence.
Mine says better than any fragrance.
It was better than any fragrance? Okay,
I
anyone
said it was
else?
superior to all perfume.
Perfume.
Mine says, and when one was burnt,
It smelled
it
sweet.
smelled sweeter than any fragrant odor.
Okay, wow. So this is why.
This is wild. There's some problems with translation here.
Yeah, so Enoch is one of the most wacky books we've read as far as translation goes. Okay, 31. After these things, surveying the entrances of the north above the mountains, I perceived 7 mountains replete with pure nard, odoriferous trees, cinnamon, and papyrus. I'm scared. What do we got?
Papyrus is pepper in mine.
Yeah, mine's pepper as well.
Pepper.
Pepper,
Yep.
papyrus,
Cinnamon and pepper.
cinnamon and pepper.
That can't be good.
How's that gonna like?
That's not
Okay.
gonna smell good.
All right, we'll just keep go with it. From there, I passed on above the summits of those mountains to some distance eastwards, and went over the Erythraean Sea,
Red Sea.
Red Sea.
The Red Sea.
Mine's Erythraean.
Mine says Eastern.
Okay, and when I was advanced far beyond it, I passed along above the angel Zatiel,
Zodiel.
Zodiac.
Mine's Zatel.
Zatiel, and arrived at the garden of righteousness. In this garden I beheld among other trees, some which were numerous and large, and which flourished there. Their fragrance was agreeable and powerful, and their appearance both varied and elegant. The tree of knowledge also was there, of which if anyone eats, he becomes endowed with great wisdom. Okay, this is very important right here. We're about to hear that we've been all deceived with this whole apple thing, right? This apple thing it wasn't an apple. Okay, this is what it was. Because we're looking at it right now, right? It was like a species of the tamarind tree. What did you guys say?
The fir, F-I-R, fir.
Like the fir tree.
Oh, it's a species like a fir tree, bearing fruit which resembled grapes, extremely fine. Okay, what do you guys have?
Carob?
Its leaves are like a carob tree, like the carob, like
How do you
the
spell that? K-E-R?
Carob.
C-A-R-O-B.
And the fruit is like the clusters of the vine.
Okay, well, that would be something like grapes, I would imagine. So this is like a little-looking grape thing. Okay, and its fragrance extended to a considerable distance. I exclaimed, "How beautiful is this tree, and how delightful is its appearance!" There's already a red flag going off right here. You guys,
Mine says attractive.
attractive. Yeah, this isn't the first time that somebody's fell in love with this tree. You guys know where I'm going with this? Okay. Then Holy Raphael, an angel who was with me, answered and said, "This is the tree of knowledge, of which your ancient father and your aged mother ate, who were before you, and who, obtaining knowledge, their eyes being opened, and knowing themselves to be naked, were expelled from the garden." Anything with you
Well,
guys?
so they were driven out of the garden, and yeah, that's right.
Mine
Yes.
says the tree of wisdom
Tree of wisdom. Well,
versus knowledge.
right, and I mean that's probably what it is. I mean, I guess you're wise to a certain degree. Foolish for eating it, but you're wise, I guess, afterwards. Okay, from there, this is 32 in my book. From there I went on towards the extremities of the earth, where I saw large beasts different from each other, and birds various in their countenances and forms, as well as with notes of different sounds. Okay, a bunch of different birds he'd never seen. Sounds like stuff he hadn't seen before. To the east of these beasts, I perceived the extremities of the earth, where heaven ceased. The gates of heaven stood open, and I beheld the celestial stars come forth. I numbered them as they proceeded out of the gate, and wrote them all down. And they came out one by one according to their number. I wrote down their names altogether, their times, and their seasons, as the angel Uriel, who was with me, pointed out to me. All right, what's different?
So instead of counting the stars in mine, I count the gates.
Okay, because I was sitting, when I read this a little bit earlier today, I'm like, this dude must have been sitting here a long time if he's able to sit here and count the stars.
Yeah, so it says
yours
his number.
says stars or gates?
Mine says stars.
Mine says
Opens the
counted.
doors of heaven.
Mine says counted the portals.
The portals would be gates. So yeah, I mean, so he's probably just pointing. He's counting the gates versus the
Stars.
Celestial
That'd
stars.
be a lot of
The
counting.
gates of heaven stood open. I beheld the celestial stars come forth. Okay, I don't know if there's a lot of different translation and weirdness here. Okay, 3. He showed them all to me and wrote them down. He also wrote down for me their names, their regulations, and their operations. So I would think that is gates, because we're about to find out why.
Their laws and their beginnings.
Their laws and their beginnings, instead of their regulations and operations.
Mine says their law and functions.
I guess that's what the Torah be for us, is a book of regulations and operations. How don't eat the swine, don't look at your sister naked, all that kind of stuff. Okay, 33 on mine. From there I advanced on towards the north, to the extremities of the earth. And there I saw a great and glorious wonder at the extremities of the whole earth. I saw their heavenly gates opening into heaven, 3 of them distinctively separated. The northern winds proceeded from them, blowing cold, hail, frost, snow, dew, and rain. From one of the gates they blew mildly, but when they blew from the 2, it was with violence and force. They blew over the earth strongly. All right, well, this basically debunks the entire earth spinning thing. And I guess a question I have for everybody that still believes that we're spinning like a bunch of space monkeys flying through the system. Do you guys ever feel the wind? Do you guys ever feel it? When there is no wind, right? It's perfectly calm. So they're claiming that we're spinning around thousands of miles an hour, and there's no wind. You never feel anything. And sometimes it's peaceful, right? You'll look at a river, or you'll look at a lake, and there's no ripples anywhere. It's completely crystal clear. Now, that just doesn't seem like it's going to be that on a wobbling, moving thing, and I know that everybody has all these excuses, but right here in the book of Enoch, it basically says there's gates, and out of these gates, winds blow, which makes a tremendous amount of sense. Is it anyone with me?
Yeah.
On your extremities,
Yeah.
mine says ends.
Okay, where did I say
The
extremities?
magnificent
Oh.
object at the ends of the whole earth.
Right, which would make a lot of sense. You'd want gates on the edges of the earths, and then if here's the scary thing, right? There's like 3 gates right there, and if you open 2 of them, it blows like a violent banshee.
Obviously, it opens 3.
Well, I mean, there's 3 gates right there, right? Isn't that
Yeah,
what
there's
it
2
said?
that are violent, one's calm.
Yeah, and what happens with, I guess, if he opened all of them? I mean, you're just going to get ripped to shreds, and so there you go. Yah can build, and he can also totally annihilate very quickly. All right, 34 in mine. From there I went to the extremities of the world westwards, where I perceived 3 gates open, as I had seen in the north, the gates and passages through them being of equal magnitude. Okay, so again, it says right here, in the west side, so the first one was north, right? Mm-hmm. And this one is west, so there's 3 gates. So it's basically there's gates on the north, east, south, and west is what we're about to see. Mm-hmm. So if you're sitting there, and it wouldn't make any sense, if you're sitting here blowing in one, and there's no place for the wind to go, it's going to hit the edge of our dome or whatever and fly around. It's going to be weird. So you'd have to have an external exit, or else we'll become like a vacuum. It'd be weird. Okay, 35. Then I proceeded to the extremities of the earth, southwards, where I saw 3 gates, open to the south, from which issued dew, rain, and wind. So again, we have wind, and we have one that's dew and one that rain. So
Okay, so I'm thinking this is somewhere like we're taught, like there's no snow here, like maybe South America, there's no snow. Because only dew, rain, and wind, we get that here.
that is true.
So we could be south?
But we could be south, but it doesn't say anything about snow. We haven't had anything with snow yet, right?
Yeah,
we did.
up
Did we?
Up in the
back.
north.
Yeah, we had frost.
Oh, okay.
Frost,
Cold,
hail,
frost,
snow, dew.
and rain.
Right, okay.
Sorry.
So, no, that's, okay, there it is right
Cold,
there.
hail,
4.
frost, snow.
Right, okay.
So,
Yeah,
down-
that could actually be it. That could be why we never see any kind of,
We don't have those kind of gates up here.
yeah, down here. Yeah, we wouldn't have the gates down here. And so that's very interesting. Very interesting. Okay.
We are south.
Yeah. All right, so did I get 2? Did I get the next one?
You just did 2.
Okay.
You stopped it on the south.
Okay.
Here in verse 3, maybe?
I think it's 2 on this one. Okay, from there I went to the extremities of heaven eastwards, where I saw 3 heavenly gates open to the east, which had smaller gates within them. Through each of these small gates, the stars of heaven passed on and proceeded towards the west by a path which was seen by them and at every period. Okay, so there, again, we are now on the east. No, we're on, where are we at? We're on,
East of
we're
the
eastward.
heavens, yep.
So we're on the east side. So the sun starts, and basically all this stuff comes in the east. and sets in the west. And what it says is there's 3 gates, and inside of the gates there's smaller gates. And through the smaller gates, the stars of heaven pass on. So when we see the stars, are they just coming out? I've seen stars, excuse me, in the middle of the day. I've seen it where I've seen stars. I've also seen the moon in the middle of the day when it's supposed to be on the other side of the ball Earth. And so, I don't know. Anyone have anything on this?
Yeah, so I think out of one gate comes the sun, one comes the moon, and then the others come the stars. The other one.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. We're going to learn about Thomas pretty soon. All right. So this is the last chapter we'll do because the next one gets into some other stuff that we will get into.
I have no chapter.
You have no chapter 36. Okay, so your version has no 36.
What did you say?
Okay, so
so my last verse is 35. It's the
All right.
36. Okay.
I don't know what in the world's going on with these translations, but I guess we'll
That's a
get
really
to
hard book to translate.
Yeah, it must be incredibly hard to translate. Okay, all right, let's get to the bottom of it, guys. 36. When I beheld, I blessed every time. I blessed Yahweh of glory, who had made those great and splendid signs, that they might display the magnificence of his works to angels and to the souls of men, and that these might glorify all his works and operations, might see the effect of his power, might glorify the great labor of his hands, and bless him forever.
Well, there you go. If you ever wonder why we're on science and everything spun together, it's to take away the glory of Yah. Well, science just happened. We're now spinning. A solar system's there. Something came together, and here we are as fish people.
Yeah, the greatest hoax, I guess, of all times is trust of science. I mean, science is supposed to be challenged. All of this entire stuff is supposed to be challenged, but I think we've just been led astray. I truly believe we are at the end of the age. I truly believe that this is, there's gates. We'll talk about Thomas, I guess, in the coming days and stuff like that. But with anything, do you guys have anything else with what we've done so far?
No, it's just it's a very interesting book. It's always learn something new, even though if we've read it before. It's just a very complicated book. Like, you can't learn everything in just one read. You have to reread it several times over to even understand half the book. So
yeah, and I got to admit, I don't think I've read this probably more than about 7 or 8 times over. At first, maybe a few more, but it was definitely when I first learned about it that I read it a couple times through. But you kind of forget about this stuff, especially when you're not dialing it in like the Torah all the time. So you kind of forget about this kind of stuff.
I mean, if we had this book in the Bible, you would think people would make more sense of how our earth works, and they would believe on our Creator more than what they would.
Well, that's the whole hoax, is they've taken these books out of the Bible so that, number one, people don't know about the Torah.
So we believe Christopher Columbus. We believe that he went around in a circle.
CC 33. More of this conspiracy talk. But anyway, yeah. It's a madhouse. So hopefully we are led by the Ruach HaKodesh, that we are able to see through the lies, that we are able to get to the bottom of things. And I mean, I tend to believe this kind of stuff more than the trying to figure out why there's absolutely no wind when we're spinning around like 1,000 miles an hour. Imagine this. Take a tennis ball, put some water on it, and spin it as fast as you can. Think about what happens to the water. And they have, again, 1,000 different reasons why we're stuck here, but I won't get into it. I'm off the soapbox now before Nicole kicks me off the daggum soapbox. All right. Anyone have anything else?
Nope.
No. Have a
read your Bibles.
great rest of your first day, and have a great second day.
Yeah, and so we're in this. There's 108 chapters in this, I think, in this one. And so we are not exactly. We're maybe a little, almost a third of the way through.
20%.
A little over that, I think. Sorry. What does it say?
20%.
So Kate's version says 20%. All right. I was about to knock the your school teacher or something of the sort, but I thought I better not. That's me. All right. Goodbye, everyone.
All right.
Much love.
Shalom.